I had a television show, which some of you may have seen. Apparently not too many of you saw it, on NBC about 2 years ago. And we used to, one of the problems we had with the TV show, we had a number of problems with the TV show, but one of the problems we had was that we weren't always seen at the same time in each city. This is important for a rating. And like, we were normally seen here at 10 o'clock on Wednesday nights, but for instance, we were seen in Albuquerque on what they call a delayed broadcast at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you may laugh at that, but we were the top in our time slot in Albuquerque at 2 o'clock in the morning. We beat out Sign Off and Today's Meditation. We clobbered today's meditation. And you never like to beat a religious show, but you know, it's a dog-eat-dog business, so you do the best you can. But we used to do a thing on the show. We used to take commercials, and we would just change the very last line of the commercials and make them come out the way I think most people would like to see commercials come out, because most people are offended. They're an affront to your intelligence, you know, average television commercial. They are aimed, this I know for a fact, they're aimed at the 12-year-old mentality, and those of us with, you know, 13 and 14-year-old mentalities, we object to it, and it causes a lot of frustration. So one thing you can do, if you take the commercial you hate the most and just change the very last line, you'll find you'll start looking forward to seeing this particular commercial. And it's kind of fun to do at home. There are some commercials you cannot touch. Some of them are beauties in and of themselves, and you cannot, it would be gilding the lily to try to change some of the commercials. Like there's one that's very popular now. It's just coming out. It's an interview. A guy's standing there and another guy with a microphone, and he says,
well, I tried Beep Beep, and I got about 4 shaves. Then I went to Beep Beep, and I got up to about 10 with Beep Beep. But when I tried the new, and then he names the thing, you know, and he says, so it's much better than Beep Beep or Beep Beep. And you know, the drugstores are doing a land office business in Beep Beep blades, because I'd love to get four you know, shaves out of a blade. I don't care what they mean. Here is one which is the most hated commercial on television. It is the greatest affront to your intelligence. It shows a guy driving into his driveway, and there's a kid's bike in the driveway. And he stops suddenly, becomes very irate, and he leans out the window. He says, Mary, will you please get Johnny's bike out of the driveway? And this woman comes out of the house, and she says, Mr. Brown, you're in the wrong driveway. Now, that's one example of much. Oh, there's one other one. Eleanor Roosevelt did a commercial on television, and there was a big hue and cry in the papers about this. They felt it was not dignified for her to appear. Well, it turned out she was doing it for a charity, and the money that she would get for the commercial would be donated to this charity. It's a way of, you know, helping the United Nations, etc. So they have more and more stars coming on television doing commercials, and the money is donated to the charity. Now, first of all, the star doesn't have an awful lot of time for these things. He's very seldom read any of the copy. He doesn't know what it is he's doing. He just comes into the studio the one day. They have the cards there for him to read. The camera's rolling. He reads it, and they send all the checks to, you know, WAIF or Children's Relief or CARE, like that. So this is Sir Laurence Olivier has agreed to do a commercial, and the money will be donated to his favorite charity. And he walks into the studio, and it goes like this. I'm awfully sorry. I was detained, so I haven't had a chance to look at the script. Do I just read the cards? Is that on? And you shoot me? Is that with the camera? Fine. Yeah. No, that'll be fine. Fine. Yes. All right. You want to start your cameras? Fine. Thank you very much. Hello. I'm Sir Laurence Olivier. You were probably very relieved, as I was, to hear that you need no longer suffer from irregularity. Could we hold the cameras just a moment? Yes.
I didn't know it was going to be on this, you see. It says make a face. What kind of face am I making? Well, you see, I don't have it, you know, so I don't, I really wouldn't know what kind of face to make, you see, in that situation. Well, none of my friends have it, as far as I know, and they've certainly never brought it up, although the occasion, you know, in conversation, it really doesn't present itself, does it? So I wouldn't know the face then. I had no idea it was going to be on this, you see. I'm sort of endorsing it, and I'm sure it's a tremendous boom, you know, for people who have it. They're probably, they feel wonderful after this, whatever you do with them. But I just don't feel it would be in good taste. All right, we can try another. I'm trying to think of the children the money is going to. Yes, but I just keep seeing this, you know. No, we can try it again. Yes. I think you, probably like I, will be relieved. Could we change that word? I think that's an unfortunate word. Yes, just give me a minute. Get me William Morris on the phone, will you? Have him think me. This is one which, it's kind of, I guess, a saddest thing that I've always had about amateur shows. I occasionally watch amateur shows on television, and while many, you know, famous stars have come out of them, the main problem with these shows is they're on every week, and they don't always have someone each week. You know, they have someone like every 10, 12 months, you know, and as a result, usually a spoon player or someone like that will wind up winning the show, you know. And while he may be very good at playing the spoons, it's a limited field, you know. There's not a big demand for it these days, if there ever was a big demand for it. And basically, it's a guy banging some spoons against his knees. You know, that's, you've seen one spoon player, you've seen them all. But the point I want to make is this is something I've always wanted to see. First of all, the MC of the show, he's been on about 20 years now and couldn't care less about the show. You know, he's a little tone deaf by this time, and a little detached, I think, would be the proper phrase. And he usually comes out like this. This is what I like to see. The guy's very nervous that he's about to introduce, and he's won the regional finals, and he's now come to New York for the national finals. And this is the MC. All right. That was Susie Keller. Susie won in Pomona last week, and she's here for our national finals. And that was a wonderful rendition of Back Home Again in Indiana on the musical Saw. I see our next gentleman here is a young gentleman from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. What are you going to do for us, young gentleman from Latrobe, Pennsylvania?
Good evening, sir. I won the regional finals, so the amateur in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and the people there had this had this big telethon there for me, and they got my bus fare here to New York and back to Latrobe. And for those people that more or less opened up their hearts for me, I'd like to do for you now the 12 Days of Christmas. Yeah, that means start it when I move my head like. Okay. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 swans a swimming, four golden rings, three turtle doves. Three maids milking 4 geese laying. 10 drummers drumming, 9 maids milking, 4 geese laying, 7 swans swimming. Damn it.
It seems, you know, when the first man was put on the earth, he had no clothes, you know. They didn't have clothes for years and years and years, you know. And then it seemed with each article of clothing that people began to wear, they began to get more prudish about it. And it's kind of inverse ratio to the amount of clothes you have on, they become more prudish. To the point where one of the strange phenomenons today is the nudist camp. And you can count on about 3 times a year, one of the newspapers here will send a photographer and a reporter out, you see, and they will get pictures and they'll run a big expose on the nudist camp, and of course we all buy the papers and we try to spot our friends, you know, because that's how they sell the papers, you know. But it's kind of a strange frame of reference to be in, though, you know, that these people, you know, are walking around with nothing on and we're walking around fully clothed and we think they're strange and they think we're strange, you know. So I wonder what it was like to be the reporter and the photographer, you know. So this is the reporter and the photographer. They're just sneaking over the wall to cover this new expose for the paper on the nudist camps.
All right, come on down, Arnold. Come on down, will you? Somebody's going to spot you up there. All right, throw me the camera. That's right. All right, now get down. All right, now take your clothes off. Will you take your clothes off? The socks and everything, yes. You want people staring at you? These people think nothing of it. What are you giggling at? It's a scar from the war, that's what it is. I was not running away from the enemy. Shells hit behind you, you know. Look, don't crouch like that, will you? That's a dead giveaway. These people think nothing of it. Just walk over. Now, when they come by, get their picture. Here come some people. Oh, hello there. Hello. I know I'm crouching, Arnold. I know I'm crouching. Are we new members? Yeah, how'd you guess that? A lot of the new members crouch down like this, do they? Yeah. Well, it takes you a little while, you know, to get over your inhibitions. Well, nice meeting you. We're certainly enjoying it here. Did you get their pictures? What do you think we're here for? All right, listen, here come some people. Get down like we dropped a quarter or something. Oh, hi there. No, we dropped a quarter. From where? I guess it must have fallen out of our ear, I guess. You know, we always try to keep a little change on us. Run into a Coke machine or something like that. You know? Well, nice talking to you. All right, goodbye. I think he's suspicious. All right, listen. Get some more pictures. We'll get out of here. Yeah, there's some people over there. Get their pictures. All right, now let's get out of here. All right, I'll close behind the bush over here. And I guess they're behind the other bush. All these bushes look alike, huh? All right, never mind. We'll climb over the wall and we'll get somebody to call the office for us. All right, let's get behind the bushes here. Sir? Sir? Yes. Would you please call the Chronicle? And yes, I know I don't have any clothes on, sir. Sir, would you, sir? Sir, just a minute. Sir, just a minute. I will hail a cab. Yo, a cab, cab! Cab! They won't pick. All right, here comes a bus. We'll have to take a bus. So, listen, we're going to have to sneak on. We don't have any money. This go to Maine, does it? Mm-hmm. All right, just sneak on. Just follow me. That's it. Right. Sit down. All right, act very calm. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. They always have leather seats, don't they? All right, don't pay any attention to the bus driver. I know he's yelling at us. We didn't pay. Don't pay any attention. What are you getting up for? You don't give your seat to a lady under these conditions. Sit down, will you? All right. Let me hold the camera on my lap for a while, will you? I was recently married. I was married January 12th, and we had a son 5 weeks ago. Now, to save you the trouble of counting on your fingers, that works out. It works out. But they say that a man can never have a child because he could never stand the pains that a woman goes through in delivering a baby. And this is true. But a man does go through a little hell too, you know. And after you're all finished and you have the baby, you begin to wonder how the world ever got overpopulated, because everybody swears, that's the last one, that's the last, I'm not going through that again, I'm not going through that. What happens, you read books, and you can read all the books in the world, and it isn't going to cover it, you know. But when it actually happens, believe me, you will turn to jelly like I did and like every other expectant father does. My wife is very calm about it. I'm lying in bed, and I just heard some noise or something, a suitcase, and I wake up, and I say, what's the matter, honey? And she says, I think we better go to the hospital. Now, my immediate reaction is to just panic, but you've read in these books that you should be very calm. So I tried to be calm. I said, okay, honey. I said, now have you been timing the contractions? She said, yes, they're about 5 minutes apart. Well, now, one of the books said this means 6-7 hours, and we're 45 minutes from the hospital. But that's another thing you'll find out, that all obstetricians, any self-respecting obstetrician, will always have his office 45 minutes away from the hospital that he practices at, you see, and it's usually about an hour away from your home. This is for the father's benefit, so he can go crazy on the way, because you always have visions of having to deliver the baby, you know, and this can turn you into deal. Anyway, I'm trying to be very calm. I said, all right, honey, you finish packing the suitcase. And by the way, you never use anything in the suitcase. They tell you to pack a suitcase. This is just to give the wife something to do while the husband is getting dressed, because you take the little bag down to the hospital and they shove it off in the corner and they give it to you when you leave, you know, and it's never opened. So I went in the bathroom and I shaved, and I put the Band-Aids on my face. Came out, you know, and I said, well, okay, honey, I think we'd better go. And she said, aren't you going to call a doctor? I said, of course, that's very good. He should know about it. He said, you should. So he can be there, or at least a representative of his. So I went into the den very calmly, looked up his number in the phone book, and dialed his number, picked up the phone, and said, baby! And hung up, and we went down. We got in the car, you know, we're driving along, and we're about 15-20 minutes on our way to the hospital, and my wife says, you know, you called the doctor? I said, yeah, honey. I said, Dr. Miller will be down there about half an hour, you know, and nothing. She said, Dr. Miller's my dentist. What the hell do you call my dentist? So I said, well, they talk to other doctors, and, you know, I'm sure he'll know what to do, you know. If a cab driver can deliver a baby, certainly a dentist can, you know. And, of course, whenever you're in a hurry, there's always two people in front of you who are practicing for a parade of some kind. They're going about 2 miles an hour, you know. And my wife is timing the contractions now on the auto clock, and they're not too reliable anyway, you know.
And they're about 3 minutes apart, and this is beginning to worry me a little bit. So I'm zooming down Wilshire, and I finally get to the hospital and figure, you know, finally, well, we're here. There are a lot of doctors around and nurses, so my concern should be over, but it's not over. This is really when your troubles start. This hospital we went to is a strange hospital because they have a parking lot, and you have to put a quarter in this slot, and then the gate comes up. You know, they don't work on the honor system. Apparently, they figure, you know, you're going to drop your wife off and then take off to Acapulco or something, so, you know, till it's over. And it's not the easiest thing to hit at 20 miles an hour, which is about what I was doing when we arrived at the hospital. But finally, we got inside, and you go to the admitting office, you know, and there's a nurse there. She says, "How do you do, sir? And what is your name?" I said, "My name is Newhart." She said, "All right, Mr. Newkirk, and is this your wife?" I said, "No, this is the hitchhiker. She was hitchhiking down here to the hospital, and it's, you know, it's right on my way to work, and it isn't that far out of the way, so I figured I'd drop her off." She said, "Well, we have to have the husband sign the paper." I said, "I am the husband." I was just a little attempted humor there. She said, "Now, sir, do you have Blue Cross or any other hospital plan?" And I'm getting a little panicky now. I said, "Look, could I possibly, you know, answer the questions while you take my wife upstairs, you know?" And she said, "Well, no, we need your wife to sign the form at the end of it, you know." So I said, "Well, if you wait about 15 minutes, all three of us can sign this form. That's very important." And with this, she panicked because she wasn't a nurse, it turned out. She's a clerk at the hospital, and she wouldn't have known what to do, you know, if the baby came there. So she got her in the elevator and got her upstairs. And they have two wonderful rooms, wonderfully titled rooms. They call one the labor room, and the other one is called the hard labor room. You know? In other words, you're going to scream your head off in this room, you know, which makes the wife feel great. You know? And you're allowed now to stay with your wife for a while until she goes into the hard labor room. So finally, they take my wife into the hard labor room, and you can find nothing out from any hospital people if you're an expectant father. You are the lowest form of life in a hospital. No one, even maintenance people, will have nothing to do with it. And there are people running around, you know, with various assorted pans of one kind or another, with worried looks on their faces. And I don't think they're nurses. They're just people that are hired to run around looking worried, because this makes the father feel better, you know, that they're concerned. And then they have the father's room. It's sort of a torture chamber that they've devised to drive the father nuts while the wife is having the baby. And this is filled with guys you just wouldn't believe, you know, they're all like that. And there's one guy in there who has just had a baby, and he is superior to everybody else, you know. He's sort of gloating, you know. And of course, I'm trying to get information out of him, you know, and I say, "Gee, they just took my wife into the hard labor room. Like, what will it be, 15, 20 minutes, I guess?" No. So, no. Oh, no. Oh, 5, 6, 7 hours. You said, "You see that poor guy over there in the corner? 32 hours he's been. And there's a guy in the corner, he's not making any sense at all. He's doing, So as I say, I don't know how the world ever got overpopulated, because we swore we would never do it again. But it has a happy ending, because we had a little son, Robert William, and he was 7 pounds 14 ounces. And oh, I became a father officially the other day. You're officially a father, you know, when the baby is born, but you aren't really a father until your baby has gone all over you. And my son went all over me the other day, and I'm a member of an exclusive fraternity now. But believe me, when it happens, it's wonderful.